Roman Reigns' next 3 WWE title challengers have been revealed. We've got an update on Kota Ibushi's New Japan Pro Wrestling status, and a dream match has been set for AEW Double or Nothing. Find out what it is in a bit. So it had been reported recently that Roman was looking to change up his WWE deal. I believe we were talking about it last weekend. He's 10 years in now. You know, it tends to be the time where people start to be allowed to have a bit more.
They get a little bit more freedom.
Yeah. And so it's led to a lot of discussion as to what shows Roman would be appearing at. It was like, well, he's only going to do so many dates, and maybe 1 or 2 of those are going to be Saudi shows. But with Hell in a Cell fast approaching, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter has done a little bit of a dive into the situation. So the Wrestling Observer are reporting as of right now that the talk is, and none of this is close to etched in stone, that Reigns wrestles Riddle on July 2nd, bloody American dates.
Yeah, the American dates. That's why I put them in brackets here for you. So Money in the Bank.
That would be Money in the Bank. You'd have Orton on the 30th of July, which is SummerSlam, and McIntyre on the 3rd of September, which is Clash at the Castle over in Cardiff. The first summer TV that Reigns was announced for was the 25th of July shows in Madison Square Garden, and that's the Go Home Raw for SummerSlam.
Big return at Madison Square Garden. I don't think they've done TV in there for quite a while.
History of Madison Square Garden with the company, it tends to be saved for quite big moments, doesn't it?
So if that's his return to TV,
it solidifies Roman as he's the draw that you go to see. Right?
Yeah, selling the Garden.
He's apparently going to be appearing on TVs to build to these matches, but it's already been announced for the 22nd of July SmackDown in Boston and the 19th of August SmackDown in Montreal. And of course, we had the situation last night, didn't we? With
the Usos are the new tag team champions.
Yeah.
So we've seen Riddle and Orton. They both did a slight injury angle. We covered that this morning, so go and watch that news video and you'll find all about it.
You watched my brain buffer for a couple of seconds and I'm like, what happened
there? What did happen? Yeah. But it looks like those two are going to be the challengers going forward. We reported, I think it was last week, as you mentioned, that Reigns is not going to be in Hell in a Cell. So looking past that, Money in the Bank gives a lot of time for Riddle to get over this injury, if it was a real one, if it was a legitimate one. And then I think it sets up a really good position for Riddle to be in, and a really good position for Orton to be in.
I think this is how you kind of help build, the picture around Roman with him being away for so long. I think you have to have these impactful moments, don't you? So I guess time's going to tell whether all of this comes true, but I think that looking at the dates Reigns was supposed to be, reducing himself to, and looking at the size of these events, it kind of makes sense.
The only thing is, I wish that the other team had gone over at Backlash, because it then allows all 3 of them to have a legitimate claim for the titles.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, obviously, they want to keep the bloodline strong.
At least it's wrestling, though, and they could just cut a promo and be like, I'm coming back, you tackled me, Roman. I'll get you.
Riddle just gets really excited and happy, not anything else, on his little scooter and that. And he just goes, I'm going to challenge you. But I hope they have some really great matches. They should do anyway.
Keeping it with WWE and looking back to developmental. WWE had obviously, the Next in Line program, and this was all brought up on a recent shareholders meeting call yesterday, in which Triple H was present.
He was back at them,
and he was asked a couple of questions about the plans for developmental moving forward. Obviously, somebody who was intrinsic in developmental for quite some time with the black and gold iteration of NXT.
Completely different idea of developmental to where WWE is heading just now, but
so apparently this also touched on how you keep the rosters full across the 2 major brands, and so he brought up the Next in Line program, saying it recruits collegiate athletes, provides a clear pathway to becoming a WWE superstar, which it does. It's it's a fast pass, and they said that Next in Line had opened the floodgates with potential stars for the company, and they can restock the pond as and when people are taken out, and
catch the fish,
mounted on Vince's wall up top in red or blue. But apparently he also noted that they're actively exploring opportunities to expand their performance centers both domestically and internationally, and will have future announcements in that regard. And I, for one, am amazed that there isn't a West Coast Performance
a West
Center,
Coast Performance Center. Everything's in Florida, so it would make sense. Probably cheaper in the long run to have one dotted about the place rather than just being like all talents have to move to Florida.
I think, you know, you could even get to the point where it's just something where you have several throughout the country, several internationally, where, you know, for the longest time, if you're a little kid and it's like, I want to learn how to wrestle, unless you're local enough to a wrestling school or you even know that you need to go to a wrestling school to do it, this is something that WWE could take that next in line idea and maybe broaden it a little bit. So it's like, you know, you can come along to a tryout. Doesn't mean you're going to get in, but you can come along to a tryout. Yeah.
It's just interesting that they're going back to this mentality of it was global localization was the branding they used years ago, and that looked like it was on the back burner. Obviously, they opened the UK Performance Center, so really the only two right now is the US and the UK.
It's this revolutionary new thing, Fraser. It's called territories.
Territories. It's never been done before. Vince McMahon is created it himself. It'll be interesting to see if the territories return.
Well, one of the territories that they kind of backed out of was Japan. So on the point of Japan, what a nice seg. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Is that Tom Campbell?
Oh, it is, yeah, definitely. News and radio and good voice. Just jumping across the pond real quick, we're going to just look just at the Kota Ibushi situation as it's been developing. We've not really been staying on top of it on the day-to-day, but we're just kind of waiting for more developments.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those ones that nothing will happen for a wee while, and then boom, here's a wee bit more. People like when I say boom. Sorry, there you go, boom.
But Meltzer has been saying in The Observer that Ibushi's basically just waiting to be released now. I'll read through this super quick, but another wrestler very close to the situation who knows Ibushi said that he's just waiting to be released and isn't going to say anything right now. But he said that Ibushi has a lot more he could say, but doesn't want to hurt the wrestling industry in Japan by doing so. There's a bit of a basic feeling in New Japan that the wrestlers care about other wrestlers and, you know, people within the company like Gedo and some of management. And apparently the doctors, they really care about those guys, but apparently a lot of the management just treats them a bit like meat. So they don't really care about the wrestlers, and that's what tends to lead to problems. He went on to say, however, Ibushi also believes a lot of fans have turned on him for saying things negative about the company and privately, because in Japanese society, it's rare. People try to downplay the things he's saying and maybe dismiss it, saying that he's nuts or he's bitter, especially revealing things like bookers and such, which in the Japanese industry isn't really something you publicly bring up.
You don't do that.
It's still quite treated semi-sporty, so it's
very respected.
So he's apparently made it clear he has no interest in returning to DDT either. So this is just sounding more and more like we're going to see Kota Ibushi leave Japan.
Possibly. It'll be interesting to see what he does. He was a freelancer for many years, mostly just staying in Japan, right? So as you said, if he's not going to go work for DDT, there's Noah.
Yeah.
But DDT and Noah are owned by the same.
Well, this is it. So
same
DDT
company.
and Noah are in bed with it. Is it Abima? So it's maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe it's just wants out of the industry altogether.
I would love to see him in America doing stuff with AEW,
on TV, on the reg.
even WWE. I think he would be able to do something there. He's a talent.
Yeah, and he knows who Vince is now after he met him.
He does. Yeah. So that would be interesting. I wonder what will happen there.
On the point of Vince, though, this is a bit of a weird and kind of horrible one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Matt Hardy was speaking recently about his tag team partnership with Bray Wyatt, or Wyndham Rotunda, and Wyatt's relationship with Vince McMahon. It was on Hardy's podcast, The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, where he said Wyndham, Bray Wyatt, has always had a very strange relationship with Vince. Very strange. Like, I almost felt like Vince looked at him like a son in some ways. What else did he go on to say?
Well, he continued to say when he would do things that he liked, he would love him. And he would really give him everything he possibly could give to him.
Yeah.
He would bend over backwards and try to accommodate him, as in Bray Wyatt. But when he did something that he didn't like, he hated him. Like he was going to lock him away for good, which is insane.
Yeah.
It was almost like a really weird, a really strange or different duality that Vince shared with Bray. When he liked him or loved him, he was all about him. But when he disliked him, oh my God, it was really bad. And he would like to punish him and insult him. Now those words, that's not fun. That's not what you want in a boss. He said, to me, it was so strange. It was almost like a parent, like, as you mentioned, he's sort of a son in some ways. Whoa.
Yeah, it's you know, you hear a lot about relationships that wrestlers have with promoters, sometimes quite tumultuous, sometimes very, very positive. Sometimes, you know, it's just like hand in glove. Sometimes it's very much the opposite. But it was always quite weird from the outside looking in as somebody who was a big Bray Wyatt fan. You know, it would be like opportunity, 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 and then it would just disappear.
It would fizzle out and he would get like nothing, and he would just get...
And we'd all just be sat like, what's happening?
But he's so good. He would come up with so many unique creative storylines for himself and others, really, whenever he was in it. So it's strange that Vince would punish and insult him when Vince didn't like something.
His release came from out of absolutely nowhere. People were expecting him to pop almost immediately back up in the wrestling world. He's gone off to Hollywood, though, and I mean, he's more power to him. Yeah,
if he's got that creative mind, Hollywood's the place to be. Just make some really, really great B-horror films. If he can become the next, and it's a big thing to ask, but if he can become, say, the next Freddy Krueger or the next Jason, if whatever they're working on explodes in the horror scene, then this could set Bray up for a life-changing thing. Like, he may not even need to wrestle, and WWE would be pleading for him to come back. Yeah. Just finishing off, though, going over the other side of the fence on that there US wrestling territory, turf territory. Lots of territories today. Yeah. An AEW Dream Match has been made official for Double or Nothing. Now, during a backstage segment on last night's AEW Rampage, the Undisputed Elites, the Young Bucks, laid down the challenge to the Hardys for a Dream Match at the upcoming Double or Nothing pay-per-view, which... Hook it to my veins. I don't care. It's going to be so good. I just want it now. I want it now. I want to be drunk in Vegas watching this entire thing go down. The things that they can do in the ring. And if it's in the MGM, those pretzels, let me just tell you, the pretzels in the MGM, they soak up beer real well. Yeah. But yeah, Jeff Hardy was eliminated from the Owen Hart Cup earlier this week after he lost to Adam Cole. This left people wondering where Jeff and Matt would feature on the Double or Nothing card, or if they'd maybe even feature at all. The Hardys accepted the challenge, of course. Why wouldn't they? Of course. If the Young Bucks go, can we have a match, please, Can we have guys? Like a dream match? But the match has been set for what will be their first meeting since Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor in 2017. Yeah, the night before WrestleMania. I was there for that, and it was a hell of a match. I was about to ask, did you get to see that one? Match. We were stood by the curtain because we were doing some interviews, and I remember we were all like, we're just going to watch this entire match, though. We'll see everybody. We'll just pause the interviews. We will watch the Hardys and the Young Bucks tear it up in the ring, and they're going to tear it up again. This is it. Like the potential there. If you've not seen that match from Supercard of Honor 2017, seriously, go dig it out. And you'll have a kind of an idea of what to expect for next week. But they'll probably do some even more crazy stuff. And then you'll also be sat there going like, how did Jeff throw himself off such a large ladder like 12 hours later? Yeah, he did. Or 24 hours later, sorry. It was this crazy, the amount of things he did in that match. He just wakes up at 9 a.m. He's like, right, here we go. Start the day. Yeah. I feel like his bed is a bunk bed and he jumps off it every single day. That might be where it's all comes from. He's a daredevil. On the Double or Nothing card, this could steal the show. There is a lot of great matches on there. Yeah. Punk, Adam Page, MJF Wardlow. Double or Nothing, it always just seems to be a tasty little event, doesn't it? It's just, there's always, even if it's like, I can see it might be pretty good, it'll probably blow your balls off. Knock it out of the water. But yeah, that's it for your second dose of lovely bumper weekend wrestling news. I've been Sam, this has been Fraser. Thank you. And bye. See you soon.